Okay, welcome back here. We're almost done. All right, we've got about one more part to do, and then we can assemble our train. All right, we're going to be doing the cow catcher, and if you've tried this already and you failed, most likely before you loft your two geometries, they are not aligned properly. What happens is you try to put a sketch on a surface that's not flat. All right, if you need a perfectly flat surface or a plane in order to put a sketch on, and I can kind of demonstrate here at a piece of paper. All right, so if you think you have geometry that's aligned and just torqued a little bit, all right, it won't be completely flat, and you can't put a sketch on it, and then you end up getting frustrated. So let's see if we can avoid that. All right, so let's go ahead and share the screen and flip out into a new part. All right, I'm going to hide this here. I'm going to start a new 2D sketch on the XY plane, and I'm just going to start with the line tool. I'm going to start drawing the geometry out on this. All right, so this first larger shape has a width here of 1.8. Okay. And I'm going to hit escape, and I'm actually going to hit my little zoom here and zoom out a little bit. Grab my line tool, and we're going to come up a 1/4 of an inch or 0.25. And I'm going to start roughing out this geometry. Notice how I get those dots so I know it's in the center. When I come down, so I know that I'm even now, and I'll come back down and I have closed geometry. Now, if you don't trust that alignment, what you can do is just double check this overall height. All right, and see if you got this right. So this one here is supposed to be an overall height. Remember, this is the larger of the two. So the larger of the two is 1, right? And then if you don't really trust that these are equal, see that you have this thing right here. It's called, that's parallel. Then there's one that looks like it here. It's called equal. And you can always just make sure that these are equal. And that way you know that it's in the center. And if you're just paranoid, you can see, okay, yep, that's right. It's lined up properly. You don't have to do that. And you can tell everything's fully constrained anyway. It turned blue on my screen. And I'm going to hit the home key. And I need to offset a plane origin and select the proper plane, which is the XY plane. And I want to offset it. Okay. Hey, offset. And I need to offset this, the height of this object itself, which is 0.75. Hey, let's try that again. Offset 0.75. Anyway, now I'm going to grab this and put a new sketch on here and hit the home key. Right, so this is going to be important. I'm going to project the geometry of just this bottom line. All right, that's how I'm going to start this out. All right, and if it makes it easier for you, well, I'm not even going to worry about that. I'm just going to project the bottom line. You can also make that a construction line if you want. Then I'm going to start at the center. I'm going to make sure I start at the center so everything lines up. And now the smaller shape, which is going to be on top of this, all right, only has a total width of 120. And so it only needs to go out on each side 0.6. And then you can either come back across. This will be, I'll hit escape. So you can just come back across a full 120 if you really wanted and overlap the lines. It'll be work just as well. But just to be consistent, 0.6. There you go. From here, we're going to go up, all right, straight up and 90 degrees to 0.25. We're going to come over to halfway. We're going to come over till this lines up and then complete our geometry. Let's not forget that this has to be a certain height from the bottom. Okay, and that height is 3/4 of an inch rather, so 0.75. Right, and then if you just want to make sure that these are all straight and it is in the center, you can just go like that, and then you know it's in the center. Also, if you just want to double check that this is a 1/4 of an inch, make sure that didn't move on you, which it is, and now we're fully constrained. Now all we have to do is loft. Usually the setup in this is what throws people off, right? It's just this loft. Okay. Get rid of this work plane by turning off the visibility. And now when I click here, I should be able to put a sketch, which I can. Hit the home key. And I am just going to offset. So I want to offset this geometry. But if I try to offset, there's nothing there because I have to project it first. So now once you project the geometry, see that? Now I can just kind of select it and ask me a distance to offset. All right, and you can kind of see that the offset distance is 0.1. Finish the sketch. All right. I'm going to come over here, new sketch, project the geometry, and then offset by 0.1. All right, finish the sketch. And what I'm going to do first is, because I want this to be a smooth shell and just it being thinner in these areas right here, I'm going to shell this first. And shell is just like to hollow it out like a little Monopoly house. All right, so I'm just going to go over to shell. Here's your shell. All right, and we need to shell this with a total thickness of 0.1. Okay, which is 0.1, which is the last thing that I use, 0.1. And then I'm just going to extrude these shapes inwards, half of that. So cut, distance, 0.05. Extrude, cut, that shape, 0.05. There you go. Okay, and there you go. All right, so that's the complicated part, all done. Now let's not forget, we do have to put little things on the back here. So new sketch. Hey, I don't like the way you look at me. There you go. Turn it sideways. I'm essentially going to need 3 circles here. All right, and each one of these 3 circles, we're going to, let's see, what are they supposed to be here? It says that we are, I'm just looking at my notes now. See, that's what happens. You start slacking over here. And these are like 1/8 of an inch in diameter. So I need 3 circles that are 1/8 of an inch. One that's going to line up with the center point, which is fine if that's on the center line over there. Just make sure that your center 0.125. Results 0.125. And again, 0.125. And because I can, I'm going to take the center point of this and the center point of that and just make sure it's even, so I only have to dimension it once. How far up from the bottom are these 3? All right, that's going to be the next question. And that's going to be 0.125. And they both move. Nice. The next one is going to be the distance from the bottom to the center point of this. Okay, and that's going to be 0.625. And that one's already in the center. And we're going to take the distance from here to here. All right, which is 1.25. That's their distance. And then we have to make sure that they are evenly in the center. Okay, so how do you do that? Well, I mean, honestly, there's a couple different ways, but the easiest way is to just grab from here to the center point of that. All right, and that's 0.625. See how they both kind of shift? And everything is aligned and in order. So now I can extrude 1, 2, 3, and all 3 of those stick out. It looks like a distance of 0.125. So 0.125. 0.125. And then they have 0.01 of 45-degree radius typical, which is just a chamfer, and 45 degrees is the default, so 0.01, chamfer, chamfer, chamfer. Okie dokie smoky. And there we go, a finished working part. All right, there we go. Perfect. Everything lines up the way we need it to be. So again, that's usually the most confusing part. A lot of kids get stuck on that. So there we go. And remember, I shelled it first, so I have a nice even shell now all the way through, even though this little area here is going to be a little bit thinner. All right, so next time, all we have to do is assemble this train, and then we have the option of building the track as well. So again, hopefully this was helpful, and I'll see you all next time.